Hi there. Good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome back to Excel Island. My name is Sheriffdeen, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is the first time here on my live stream, so I'm actually live streaming for the next 100 days. Today is day 21. If I complete a couple of lessons today on my Datacamp subscription, I'll be learning for the next 21 days consistently. Okay, I'll be learning for the last 21 days consistently without missing a day. So I do live stream every day for like 30 minutes minimum, 45 minutes to 1 hour maximum, learning something new on Datacamp. So I'm currently on the SQL data analysis SQL journey. Let me show you the track. So there are different tracks here on Datacamp, and I'm currently subscribed to the 1 year subscription as we have different tracks if you're interested in becoming a tech person and especially in the data analytics world. So I'm currently in the data analyst in SQL track. So this is it here. So I've covered a couple of lessons so far, a couple of chapters. So I started from the beginner section, and this is not my first time in SQL, so I have a little bit of background in SQL actually, especially in MySQL. So this data camp course structure is basically on PostgreSQL, but you are learning SQL, that you are learning from Microsoft SQL Server, SQLite, MySQL, Postgre, you're actually learning SQL. So I've completed the introduction to SQL, intermediate SQL, joining data in SQL, and I'm currently on data manipulation in SQL. It's remaining just one chapter to complete this section. Then I move to the next section. A couple of them. I think there's still more like I've completed one, two, three, four sections. They are like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven more sections to go. So I hope within before before I get to the last day on the 100th day, I will be able to complete it. If not, I will start another 100 days, maybe probably go 200 days. Hopefully, let's say that. So that's just it there. So and I started live streaming from day 11. I did actually live stream within the day one of introduction to SQL and intermediate SQL. The thought of live streaming it just came up on the 11th day. You get that now. So if you are looking for the introduction to SQL parts, I'm sorry. Probably when I finish the whole section, I will start all over again because I still need to go over it one more time. These are technical stuffs and it doesn't stay once until you practice. So thanks for tuning in once more time. So if you're interested in freelancing and trying to be a remote worker, trying to work from home like I am, so you can check out the course in the YouTube description. The name of the course is Freelance Clients Magnet Course. So the course teaches you how to become a successful freelancer and earn the I box like all the other freelancers in the world. You become a top 1% freelancers in the world if you follow the instructions in the course. And I'm a testimonial of the course. The name of the course instructor name is Benga Debi. Is my coach. He has been coaching me about freelancing for the past 3, 4 years, and I've learned a lot from him. So he just launched the course early this year or probably late last year, and the course have gained a lot of traction. You can check out the course under the YouTube description. You're going to learn how to become a top-rated freelancer using LinkedIn, Fiverr, Upwork, remote job website, or even using your social media account to get clients. Like that's what the course is all about. Also, you get one-on-one support from from the course instructor himself. That is being Adebiyi, where he gets to coach you every weekend where it teaches you what to do, what not to do, the steps to take to scale up your freelance business. He call himself freelance scale up coach because he has scaled a lot of young freelancers to turn their passion into a huge business where they have agencies and stuff like that. And I'm hoping to get to that stage one day soon. So don't forget to check out the course. So let's get back to the lessons. So don't forget to give this a thumbs up and subscribe to support the channel. Also support the channel with the links in the YouTube description. Show some love, bro. So that's just all about that. So moving on. So every day if I log into my data camp dashboard, I could have a couple of weak areas to practice. If I don't have, I'll just move on to today's lesson. If I check it all good, we have no items to review today. Start something else instead. So I don't have anything to review. So I've not achieved my daily goals today. When I complete a couple of lessons today, I should be on day 21 straight. So I just continue the data manipulation in SQL chapter. Just have 1 more hour. I'm at 70% complete. I just have 1 more hour to go. Hopefully we can finish it in this live stream today. Or I usually I do live stream for like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So off camera, I could finish this section. If I don't finish it on the live stream, I'll probably finish it off live stream and we'll start a new course tomorrow, a new section that the data analytics and SQL part. I just click on continue and boom, we are up and running. I was speaking a little bit too fast earlier, so I'm still learning how to speak one at a time. I think it's better to speak gently one at a time. I realize that, right? That's good. So let's continue. So this is the last chapter under data manipulation in SQL. So Windows function. So let's learn some new stuff. I'll just play.
Great job. You now
Hold on. I'm trying to switch to my headset. The speaker to my headset.
have experience transforming data using simple subqueries, correlated subqueries, and common table expressions. Let's tackle another limitation you've likely encountered in SQL, the fact that you have to group results when using aggregate functions. If you try to retrieve additional information without grouping by every single non-aggregate value, your query will return an error. Thus, you can't compare.
That's true. Every time you're using aggregate function in your select query, you always have to group by. You always have to use group by. You can't escape it. I don't know why.
Aggregate values to non-aggregate data. You can work around this limitation using a window limitation without grouping aggregate functions. If you try to retrieve additional information without grouping by every single non-aggregate value, your query will return an error. Thus, you can't compare aggregate values to non-aggregate data. You can work around this limitation using a window function. Window functions are a class of functions that perform calculations on a result set that has been already generated, also referred to as a window. You can use window functions to perform aggregate calculations without having to group your data, just as you did with a subquery in Select. You can also use them to calculate information such as running totals, rankings, and moving averages. So what's a window? Just as you did with window that perform calculations. You can work around this limitation using a window function. Window functions are a class of functions that perform calculations on a result set that has been already generated, also referred to as a window. You can use window functions to perform aggregate calculations without having to group your data, just as you did with a subquery in Select. You can also use them to calculate information such as running totals, rankings, and moving averages. So what's a window function? How do you use it? Let's start with a query from Chapter 2, where we answered the question, how many goals were scored in each match in 2011, 2012, and how did that compare to the average? This query selects two columns from the match table and then used a subquery in Select to pass the overall average along the data set without aggregating the results. The same results can be generated aggregating the results.
Select average home group plus away group from match. Rest is in. So that's the overall average. Select date and the home group plus away group as rest is in from match. Rest is in is this. So overall average compared to the average goal scored in a season.
The same results can be generated using the clause common to all window functions, the over clause. instead of writing a subquery, calculate the average of home goal and away goal, and follow it with the over clause. This clause tells SQL, pass this aggregate value over the existing result set. The results are identical to the previous statement that used a subquery and select with a simpler syntax and a faster processing time. Another simple type of column you can generate with a window function is a rank. A rank simply creates a column numbering your data set from highest to lowest or lowest to highest based on a column that you specify. Let's take the same query as the previous example without the window function and use it to answer the question, what is the rank of matches based on the number of goals scored? We can answer this using the rank window function. In order to set this up, let's add a new column in select as you see here. To create the rank, you start with the rank function using parentheses followed by the over clause. Inside the over clause, include the order by clause and the column or columns you want to use to generate the rank.
Oluwatobiloba. Over as okay. I'm trying to compare the other query with this new query.
Here, to create the rank based on a column that you specify. Let's take the same query as the previous example without the window function and use it to answer the question, what is the rank of matches based on the number of goals?
Why does someone get sleepy during the first few minutes into a course, especially when it comes to online course? I don't understand. I'm yawning, but I don't want to sleep. If I haven't slept since 2 a.m. What will be that time?
Scored. We can answer this using the rank window function. In order to set this up, let's add a new column in select as you see here. To create the rank, you start with the rank function using parentheses followed by the over clause. Inside the over clause, include the order by clause and the column or columns you want to use to generate the rank. By default, the rank function orders the results and ranking from smallest to largest values. In the case of our data set here, this isn't particularly informative. You can easily correct this by adding the descending function to reverse the order of the rank, just as you would if you were using order by at the end of your query. You'll notice that the rank function automatically ties identical values, such as the first two results, and then skips the next value in the rank. There are a few key considerations when using window functions. First, window functions are processed after the entire query except the final order by statement. Thus, the window function uses the first window. There are a few key considerations when using window functions. First, window functions are processed after the entire query except the final order by statement. Thus, the window function uses the result set to calculate information as opposed to using the database directly. Second, it's important to know that window functions are available in PostgreSQL, Oracle, MySQL, but not in SQLite. Okay, let's practice some simple window functions using the over clause.
Yeah, let's practice. So the match is over The over clause allows you to pass an aggregate function down a dataset, similar to subqueries in Select. The over clause offers significant benefits over subqueries in Select. Namely, your queries will run faster, and the over clause has a wide range of additional functions and uses you and clauses you can include with it that we will cover later in this chapter. In this exercise, we will revise some queries from previous chapter by using over clause. In this case, select ID, match ID, country name, season, home, and away goes from match and country table. That's cool. So I'm select ID, match ID. So this is the match ID, this is the match table, this is the country table. So I'm select the match ID from here, the match field or the match ID column. I can just say from match as well. I can make it because there's probably the ID column also in the country table. So I have to specify the table name and the column name match.id. Okay, that from the country name as country, the country name as country, the season from March, we have the season record on the March table, the home goal and away goals from March. Home goal is there, so that's the m dot home goal from March. Let the home goal from March. Let the away goal. So use window function to include the aggregate average in each row. Okay, aggregate average in the home goal, and that should be. We want to calculate the average home goal. Average home goal plus average away goal. So that'll give us the average goal for each ID, for each country, for each season. So now I want to compare it to the overall average in your records. We have to use the over function, over windows function, over open and close parentheses. Then for match as well, left join country on m.id and c.id. Let's run that and see. So this is overall average from the whole data set. Overall average for goals from the whole data set. But we just got the overall average for each ID and for each season. Let's submit that. Now we're taking it a little bit deeper. So Windows function allow you to create a rank of information according to any variable you want to use to sort the data. When setting this up, you will need to specify what column or calculation you want to use to calculate your rank. This is done by including an order by clause inside the over clause. Below is an example. Select ID rank over order by ongoers. In this exercise, you will create a data set of ranked matches according to which leagues and on average score the. In this exercise, you will create a data set of ranked matches according to which leagues on average score the most goals in a match. So select the league name and average total goals score from league and match. Select the league name. So this is the league name. Okay, league name as league. It will be from L. We'll just say name as league. Then the average total goals scored from league and match. every total goal scored has to be from the match table. Then that is the M and B, that will be M dot away goal. M dot underscore goal. Rank each league according to the average. Also rank each league according to the average. So this should be over, there should be an over clause here. We'll rank it using the rank function. Quite straightforward. Just do rank open parentheses and close parentheses there. Rank open and close parentheses. Then we have our over here. We have the over here. The rank over should be outside here. Then the other by clause will be here. Other by. Other by the average goal as goal from L. Then doing match as M on LID. Where season is this, go by L, order the query by the rank we created as league rank, order by okay. Order by league rank. Let's run the query and see. Oops, there's an error somewhere. Oh, I didn't complete this. Order by okay. And go and I will go and not I will go. Boom. And okay, so rank over because we're having another by clause here. We're having the average. That's why this has to be in brackets again. So that's correct. So this is the league rank. That's the name. This is the average goals from the records. Okay. Boom. So one more. So we finished. We've gotten all the challenges under the rank over section, over clause. So complete the same part of the query as the previous exercise. Complete the window function to rank each league from highest to lowest average goal. So from highest to lowest average goal scored. Order the main query by the rank you just created. So this is the rank. Select name. Select name as league. We want to select the name as league. The name from the league table. Name field from the league table. And this is our first table, so we don't need to use the layers there. And average goal scored. Average goal scored from the match table. And that be m dot home goal. That's quite familiar. .ongo as average goal scored. Rank league in descending order. Oh, but we have to click in descending order. That will be rank, rank, open and close bracket, over, that is the open and close bracket was over. But we want to use the order by clause here. Order by order by we have our average calculation here. Average calculation of the ongo and ongo. Once the order is descending, just add descending clause here. If I do that without the descending clause, let me show you what it will look like. So from link as well, let's join match as well. So that was the query by league rank. Let's see. Order by league rank. So I run the query should run fine. But this order is descending. So all this to be from the highest to lowest, not from probably the lowest to the highest. Rather. So once it will be from descending ESC. If I run that now, so the average goes to be structured from what highest to lowest. So our ranking system will be correct. That's great. I'll just submit that, and we got the full mark. So where season? Okay. What the season for the match to be? That's interesting. And boom, we're able to finish that section really quick. And the window function is quite simple and easy. So 21% to the cost. Let's do this section one more time. Let's go over with a partition. There will be a couple of examples. Then round up for today. Okay.
You've done a great job working with the over clause so far. The real bread and butter of window functions that differentiates them from subqueries and select are in the functions you can add within the over clause. One important statement you can add to your over clause is partition by. A partition allows you to calculate separate values for different categories established in a partition. This is one way to calculate different aggregate values within one column of data and pass them down a data set instead of having to calculate them in different columns. The syntax for a partition is fairly simple. Just like before, use an aggregate function to compute a calculation such as the average of the home goal column. You then add the over clause afterward, and inside the parentheses, state partition by, followed by the column you want to partition the average by. This will then return the overall average for, or partition by, each season. Let's take a look at how this works in a query. This example query from the previous lesson answers the question, how many goals were scored in each match, and how did that compare to the overall average? This is accomplished using the over clause, and the query returns the date, goals scored, and overall average. Let's expand on the previous question and instead ask, how many goals were scored in each match, and how did that compare to the season's average? We can do this by adding a partition by clause to the over clause from the previous slide. Specifying partition by season returns each season's average on each row in accordance to the season that each record belongs to. As you can see, rows 1 and 2 are over clause How did that compare to the season's average? We can do this by adding a partition by clause to the over clause from the previous slide. Specifying partition by season returns each season's average on each row in accordance to the season that each record belongs to. As you can see, rows 1 and 2 are matches played in the 2011-2012 season, and the season average column contains the 2011-2012 season average. Rows 3 and 4 are part of the 2012-2013 season and return the 2012-2013 season average. You can also use partition to calculate values.
Hold on. I have to listen to that all over again.
You've done a great job working with the over clause so far. The real bread and butter of window functions that differentiates them from subqueries and select are in the functions you can add within the over clause. One important statement you can add to your over clause is partition by. A partition allows you to calculate separate values for different categories established in a partition. This is one way to calculate different aggregate values within one column of data and pass them down a data set instead of having to calculate them in different columns. The syntax for a partition is fairly simple. Just like before, use an aggregate function to compute a calculation such as the average of the home goal column. You then add the over clause afterward, and inside the parentheses, state partition by, followed by the column you want to partition the average by. This will then return the overall average for, or partition by, each season. Let's take a look at how this works in a query. Or partition you want afterward, and inside the parentheses, state partition by, followed by the column you want to partition the average by. This will then return the overall average for, or partition by, each season. Let's take a look at how this works in a query. This example query from the previous lesson answers the question, how many goals were scored in each match, and how did that compare to the overall average? This is accomplished using the over clause, and the query returns the date, goals scored, and overall average. Let's expand on the previous question and instead ask, how many goals were scored in each match, and how did that compare to the season's average? We can do this by adding a partition by clause to the over clause from the previous slide. Specifying partition by season returns each season's average on each row in accordance to the season that each record belongs to. As you can see, rows 1 and 2 are matches played in the 2011-2012 season, and the season average column contains the 2011-2012 season average. Rows 3 and 4 are part of the 2012-2013 season and return the 2012-2013 season average. You can also use partition to calculate values broken out by multiple columns. In the query you see here, the over clause contains two columns to partition the average goals scored, season and country. The results set returns the average goals scored broken out by season and country. In row 1, a match was played in Belgium in the 2011-2012 season and had 1 goal scored throughout the match. This is compared to the value 2.88, which is the average goals scored in Belgium in the 2011-2012 season. Partition by is a pretty straightforward addition to the over. The over clause contains two columns to partition the average goals scored, season and country. The results set returns the average goals scored broken out by season and country. In row 1, a match was played in Belgium in the 2011-2012 season and had 1 goal scored throughout the match. This is compared to the value 2.88, which is the average goals scored in Belgium in the 2011-2012 season. Partition by is a pretty straightforward addition to the over clause. You can partition calculations by one or more columns as necessary to answer a question you may have. Additionally, you can use a partition with any kind of window function, a calculation, rank, or others that we will discuss further in the following lesson. For now, let's practice calculating window partitions on our match data.
Okay, let's practice that. So let's see. The partition by clause allows you to calculate separate windows based on columns to divide your results. For example, you can create a single column that calculates an overall average of goals scored for each season. In this exercise, we will be creating a data set of games played by Liga Warsaw in the Warsaw League, the top-ranked team in Poland, and comparing their individual game performance to the overall average for that season. Where do you see more outliers? Are they, are they Liga Warsaw home or away games? So let's complete the two windows functions that calculate the home and away goal average. Partition the window function by season to calculate separate overall. Okay, we partition it by season. We will calculate separate overall averages for each season. But we're using over then. Just calculate the overall average for that country or whatever you selected. Okay, let's see. Interesting. For now, we're having case one here. Select date, season, home goal, away goal. Case when home sim ID is equal to this, then home, else away, and as Warsaw location. Calculate the average goal scored partition by season. Okay, that will be average goal scored as season home average, season away average. That should be average hold on. I'm trying to compare the query. Compare the average goal scored, partition by season. And compare the average goal scored. That's the home and away goal. Uh, thinking. Okay, home and away goals average. We are trying to get the home and away goals average. The average. So the partition is going to be after that. The over clause is after it. So the over clause is there. Over partition by season. It will be over here. So I'm expecting the over should be here. Over. Then partitioned by season. Partition by season. You first get the home and average goal. That is the AVG. Average home goal plus away goal. Home goal plus away goal. Then that should be over partition by season. We do the same thing here. Average own goal. That's away goal over. Then partition by season. Partition by season from March. This is calculating the average own goal score, but by each season, not by the overall average of probably that country or day or the records, overall average of goals in the record. But it's going to partition it by season. That's like a complex calculation. For March, filter the data set for league also matches only. Okay, where home team ID, where home team ID, that will be where the home team ID is equal to that is 8673, maybe 8673, or the away team ID. So I want to check the home and away goal. Away team ID. Away team. Okay, this will be away team. Underscore ID is equal to this 867373. Let's run that and see. Oh, we might have an error on my filter codes. Okay. Filter the data set for league Warsaw matches only. Oh, hold up. This is the home goal. Okay, so the home team ID. The best way to filter it on the home team ID now. For league Warsaw matches only. Let's see that. Oh, I didn't spell it very well. See my mistake. I didn't spell the away team. I missed a T there. Imagine. Let's see that one more time. And boom. Just spelling. So you have to be pretty careful. So I know that that's my filtering criteria immediately, but I don't know why I was making a mistake over there. Let's submit that. Oh, there's an error. Check the highlighted code. You check off specify home goal here. Home goal where? Line what? You won't explain the line. Oh, home goal. There's home goal everywhere now. These are I don't like. I probably don't making a mistake. But when there's no okay, check the highlighted code. Where is the highlighted code? Okay, is it telling me here? Now I'm stopped and I can't You can see there's three. It is highlighting this place. If I'm spelling it correctly, home go. Let's copy that to. I'm spelling it correctly. Come on. Where is now the error? There's home go. Home go and away go average. It's highlighting this place, this average section, this place. But it is there. You can see the home go here. Home go. GOAL. GOAL. Spelling it correctly. GOAL. I don't want to take hints. I'll lose my start CSP. I don't want to do that. But if the Lord is seeing me, home go, away go, what's the location, like that, when the home team ID is home and away, season average, season average, season away average, calculated correctly. Then what's the problem? Come on now. This is not fair. This is not fair. I don't want to take a hint. I have no choice. He has positioning the average over goal scored in over close by massive. Yeah, now. Okay, this is not even the challenge I'm having. So I just wasted my 30 SP now. The challenge I'm having is different from that. I'm having check the highlighted code. The checker expected to find home goal in there. Home goal where? This is not fair. This is not fair. Showing as I'm losing all my SP, all my SP points. I already lost 30 SP. That's not important though. Most important thing is to get the answer. But I'm pretty sure I'm getting the answer. Then what was not the error? The code is working fine, returning the correct output. But why are you telling me check the highlighted code? The checker expected to find home goal there. If I should reveal the answer, that's not fair. I'll lose all my points. What I will do, I'll copy this just to save some time. I'll copy that. If I click on show answer, I'll compare with the show answer. And when you see why I don't know whether there's error in Datacamp stuff sometimes, when I compare with my own that I copied earlier, I just pasted it. When you see where it's taking me to, you can see the same calculation from here, same code output. Imagine. Oh, you see, I was doing a mistake. The mistake is from my head. So I was supposed to calculate the home goal and away goal individually. Home goal calculated, not summing up the home goal and away goal like this. I know I was wrong. So that's just it. Oh, since there's yeah, calculate the two windows one to calculate the home and away goal averages. Home goal, away goal averages. So I know that I was doing a mistake here. I used on my SP for just that simple misunderstanding, simple error. I can use something as season home average as away goal home average. I should have figured that out then. That's painful. Okay. I also need to go through this course one more time. I lost my SP then. Oh, that's not fair. Okay, we move on. I've learned my lesson. The query is always right. Human is wrong. So construct two windows function, partitioning the average of home and away goals by season and month. Construct two window functions. Okay, let's do this. So construct two window function. Average, so this will be calculate the average goal partitioned by season and month. So I'm going to partition it by two multiple condition, multiple columns now. Let's see the average of home goal, the average home goal, then the average away goal. Now the average home goal, average away goal. Now I want to do over and partition. This is over Windows Plus and partition partition by this season and month. I go to the match table season and where is the month? Okay, the months that were started from the date. So season and month. So the season will be here. Season, comma, the month that is extracted from here. So extract month from date. So I will extract the month from this one here, month from date. So same thing with over here, over partition by season and month, partition by season, comma, maybe month, and the month, extract month, should be, let me make that capital letter, uppercase, extract month from the date. So where ID is 8673 and the waiting ID is 8673. Let's run that and see. Ooh, maybe an error in my partition. I need to mention the column. I think I need to mention the column that should be in the match column. So I need to mention which column this is coming from. But we're not grouping. There are not two tables there now. Let's see. For match, let me see. Explain the error. The column month does not exist. Oh, we're not seeing the column months. But you need to reference it now from the dates column. Where is the code to fix this error? Yes, we calculate the average growth partition by season and month. When you partition it by season and month, that will be how now. You see the season, extract months from dates. So the started column should work fine. Oh, I say start column season. Is there a column season and extract months? Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see. I need to do it like this. Okay, comma. Extract month from the date. Let's run the code and boom. Oh, so I don't need to since I'm specifying the month, the column to extract by two columns and season and month. I just have to make sure this function is working like that. Oh, I made my mistake there. Let's submit that and see why it is correct. And boom, I've got our full mark. So normally the month column doesn't exist. But we use the extract function to extract the months from the date. So you just input that record straight in our stuff. So, and boom, that's that. So I'm 47% into the lesson. So I'll just end the live stream for now. Continue off live stream. Alright guys, so thanks for staying to the end of this live stream. If you are here, thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up and share the live also so other people can learn from it. So hopefully by off camera I'll finish the lessons and we'll start a new lesson, a new chapter, a new section entirely on tomorrow's live stream. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the freelance magnet course under the YouTube description, which teaches you how to become a successful freelancer and any big boss and work from anywhere you're in the world at your time. You be your own boss and work from anywhere you are in the world using well, while chasing your dreams and achieving your goals. You get it now? So I'll see you same time tomorrow as usual. Peace out. Bye for now.